Welcome to the International Society for Performance Improvement. Up next, Elaina Zuker, Zuker and Associates, and Valerie Bernard, ISPI volunteer, regarding the upcoming ISPI conference. Good afternoon, Facebook friends and family, and especially the International Society for Performance Improvement members. We are excited to be coming live to you today from Montreal, Canada, as well as Dallas, Texas. My name is Valerie Bernard, and I'm a volunteer member for the International Society for Performance Improvement. And with me today is Miss Elaina Zuker from Montreal, Canada, and she is the owner of Elaina Zuker and Associates. How are you doing today, Elaina?
I am just great, although we're piled up with snow in beautiful Montreal, but by the time you guys get here, it's going to be gorgeous.
Oh, well, I'm excited to get there because this will be my first trip to Canada. So, and I see how beautiful it is from the pictures. Here's one of the backdrops from our video today that you said. I'm just going to absolutely love it.
That's the skyline, and it is fabulous, fabulous. So I think everyone's going to have a wonderful time at the conference.
Thank you so much, too, for the gift of your time today. I know how busy you are traveling around and doing your consulting. And when I was first, actually, let me start back a little bit. Let me start about how we met. I was on LinkedIn, actually, and I think that I was going through some people in Montreal, and I was trying to make some connections there to see if there might be people in Montreal interested in our conference. And I came across your profile, and it just stuck out to me as somebody that I needed to know, and you were so gracious to accept my LinkedIn friend request. And the story starts from there, and we ended up connecting and sharing a couple emails back and forth, and then we ended up on the phone. And the more I learned about you, the more I knew that you were somebody that should be in front of our audience at the conference. And so thank you again for accepting that and for the time that you've given me over the last few weeks getting to know you. And thank you also. I've got your 2 books that you sent me in the mail here.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to hear more about that today. But you know, one of the things in our initial phone call that was so exciting to me was, first of all, your graciousness and how humble you were, but that you also had some roots with ISPI. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Oh, well, yes. Quite a few years ago, when I was starting out with my book and seminar, 7 Secrets of Influence, I had a request from, there you go. Well, thank you so much, Valerie. That's very, very sweet of you. I had a request from a large corporation in California that was a multinational, and they wanted to use the training program with their U.S.-based employees and then all over the world. And I just didn't have the staff to deliver all that. And so I heard about what was then called NSPI, and I had heard that AT&T had laid off a couple of their primo instructional designers, and so I made contact with them and hired the 2 of them to, number one, audit my class a couple of times. They sat in the back of my room and notated every single thing that I did. And they helped me streamline the design for the course. And number 2, they created a foolproof leader's guide for my Secrets of Influence program, which I still use to this day. It's been over 15 years. And trainers all over the world have used this, what I call foolproof leader's guide. What I say is that anybody, any drunken fool can teach this program, because it's so user-friendly. So that was my early experience with NSPI, now ISPI.
Yes, you make a really good point there that 63 years ago, we were not known as the International Society for Performance Improvement, and it was a group of instructional designers that had gotten together, and specifically some of those from the military, some of our founding fathers, Roger Kaufman, who is still very active and very involved in the International Society for Performance Improvement, and got together and said, you know, how can we get better at what we do? And then over the years, now it's evolved into ISPI. So that's quite an interesting story that you found some designers and you grew your program, and just looking even at your website, all the clients that you've served over the years. It's just truly amazing, your work. And also, I learned that you're not just an author of these 2 books, but you've got 4 other books. So you've been the author of 6 books?
Yes.
So out of those 6, which one's your favorite?
You know, I think the favorite is the newest one. It's like the newest baby because it's called The Swift Kick in the Cant. There it goes. And it's been percolating for many, many years. So I think it was very satisfying to get all my ideas kind of roped in and commit them to paper. And it took me a year to write it. But I had all these gigantic files, you know, paper files and clippings and ideas that I had. And let me just get to the chase and briefly tell our viewers what it's about. It's about something that I created with another woman. We were both independent consultants, and what we discovered was that we had many gaps in our respective skills and experiences. I was very good at certain things that she wasn't, and vice versa. So we did a very, at that time, very crude, let's say, assessment of our respective skills and needs. And we made a contract with each other that we would, and we called it a peer-mentor relationship. And we formalized it to the extent that we created this contract, a written agreement with each other, in which we would, in an ongoing way, support each other in acquiring the skills and resources that the other has or needs. And it was a great exercise in both identifying your strengths and weak areas, as well as being able to negotiate with another person how much you're willing to give and what your boundaries are around, you know, you can't give in an unlimited way. Mm-hmm. And also, you know, those of us, especially women who are used to kind of toughing it out and being on our own, are sometimes reluctant to acknowledge that we have areas where we need help. So this is confidential. It need not be with, in fact, it's better if done with someone who is a relative stranger, and it's both very as close and intimate as a real partnership, but on the other hand, it's kind of a cool, rational contract.
Yes, and I was so excited when we first talked and you were telling me about your work and you told me about the books that you had out, and I was really excited about the influence book when you first started telling me. But then as you launched into this discussion with me about the Swift Kick and the Cants, instantly I thought this is something that our ISPI conference attendees might find value in, because one of the worst things is going to a conference like this with 500 or 600 people, especially for if you're new, and maybe you're not as outgoing as what you and I might be, and so how do you connect and how do you network and find people that have similar goals or going down a similar path that you can learn from? And so as we talked about this, you agreed that this would be a great opportunity for our conference participants. So could you talk, we don't want to spill all the beans yet, and leave room for imagination, but could you talk just a little bit about what our conference attendees could expect from the program?
Well, you know, Valerie, I want to acknowledge you for seeing this fit, because, you know, it's kind of a lesson for both of us and for everybody. As independent consultants, sometimes we have a very fixed idea of, you know, what we think is going to happen at the end of a conversation. But if you listen enough and, you know, be open to what else might be there, I think that's what happened with us, because we were kind of going to talk about influence, and then we ended up on this side road with it, which ended up being the road. So what we agreed on was that, as you say, you know, it's kind of a terrifying and not so great experience for people coming into a conference. You're in a strange city. You've just checked in, you got your badge, and you arrive at the opening networking event, and there are 500 or 600 people that you don't know, and you might be so relieved and thrilled to see people that you already know, and you race over there and you chat with them. And while that's very nice and comforting, it isn't really why you came maybe thousands of miles to attend a conference. So what we're going to do as the opening event of the conference is what I call purposeful networking. And so the goals are two, actually. One of them is to help you when you arrive at the conference. I'm going to be doing a structured exercise and ask people, what are your goals for these next few days at the conference? What is it you want to have as a takeaway? And then what are the skills you have to accomplish that goal? And also, what are the areas where you need help? For example, maybe one of your skills is you're very good at attending breakout meetings and getting the notes. But you may not be so good at either raising your hand and asking questions of that presenter, or even afterward proactively networking with the other people in the room, or even asking the presenter some questions privately. So I'm going to guide you through an exercise where you'll identify what are the pluses and minuses that are areas you want to work on just for this limited experience of the conference to help you make sure that you accomplish the goals of the conference. And you'll acquire at the end of this session, which might be 45 minutes or an hour, you'll have a conference success buddy that you can check in with throughout the conference. And, you know, hopefully this is someone that you've never set eyes on before, because this will broaden your experience. You will each meet each other's friends and colleagues and broaden your network. Plus, you're going to have some learning from each other. You'll be coaching each other throughout the days of the conference, and then it'll be up to you how often you meet throughout the conference and so on. So that would be objective one that I'm hoping people will come away with. And the second one is that I have used this as a learning aid for instructors and seminar conductors as a way to ensure that people who come to a seminar or workshop that they can use this as a kind of glue so that the skills they learned, let's say they're writing, the conference topic was business writing skills. Okay, so at the end of that event, I usually conduct a little mini peer mentoring experience whereby people identify, of the writing skills you've learned in this one day, let's say, what are the top skills that you now feel you already have, and what are the ones that you want to work on ongoing after you leave this event? And then you will be paired up with someone who has some of the skills that you need and who needs some of the skills that you already have. And so you'll leave this one-day learning experience with an ongoing peer mentor. So I'm hoping that for the audience, I will be modeling how to use this as a learning aid for any topic, whatever the subject matter is. So those are the two goals that I have.
And I've been a member now for 2 years, and my first conference, as most people know by now through all the videos that we've produced, that was in 2015. And if I could have had the experience of working with you in the beginning, then I might have been more clear and managed even my time more wisely, because you can get caught up in you know, conversations that are definitely fruitful, but may take you off track for what your goal is. And it moves so fast at these conferences, and there's so many opportunities. We'll also be next week hearing from Gary Calkins, and he's going to be doing a webinar also Friday the 24th, and so he's one of our keynotes, and and maybe there's somebody, if you had a buddy that you could attend a keynote with, and then you could debrief on what you learned on a keynote. Is that something that would be beneficial?
Absolutely. So I'm hoping that people who, and if you're very enterprising, you might pair up with more than one person after you've learned this.
I see.
So,
Yes.
right? So I'm just really using it for the limited event, the limited time. I don't even know how much time we'll have, 45 minutes or something?
Probably an hour, I think. They have you down for an
For
hour.
the opening, for the opening networking event. That'll just give us enough time to, warm up the room and get people moving around and identifying what their goals are and how to find someone. I'll have a way to have them cruise around the room and show them how to create this contract. But if they love the idea, then they might want to find a second person.
Yes, I'm already trying to think about what I might want to put in and what my goals might be for the conference too.
Exactly.
So yes, I'm really excited about this, and our opening keynote after that's going to be Dina Dwyer Owens, and I've got her book back here, Values Inc., and we're going to be next Thursday doing an interview with Dina as well, and I'm just thinking of all the huge opportunities by learning the skills that you've already mastered, and you're so gracious to share it with us and to teach us how to really network at this conference and come up with these contracts and hold each other accountable. I think having an accountability partner these days is so important to be successful, and so thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us. And is there anything else I'd like, if people are interested in your book, where can they go to?
Amazon. It's on Kindle and Amazon.com. Thank you so much, Valerie, for your gracious plugging.
Oh yes, of course. We've got to get these books in everybody's hands. And even if you're not attending the ISPI conference, I'm sure this is some books that you'll want to check out. Influence is so important, and how to do that, and we can all be always working on our skills here. And this peer mentor model, it's not something that is exclusive just to the ISPI conference. I'm sure you would love to help anybody that's interested. So Amazon.com and did you say Kindle?
Yeah, just if they want the ebook, the book is A Swift Kick in the Cant, the new peer mentor model for success now. And the other one is 7 Secrets of Influence, and they're both available. Thank you, Valerie.
You're welcome. So
and they're both available in an ebook, or if you like a print book, it's available that way as well. And I hope that people come to this event at the conference, because what my goal is to make sure that people have a richer conference experience, so that you've paid good money and your precious time to get here to Montreal. I want to welcome everybody, and I will be around during the conference the next few days, but I want people to have, let's say, the best bang for your buck, so that you can really maximize all the wonderful learning that's going to be available for you at this conference.
Yes, thank you so much. And with 61 sessions, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of learning going on. If you could tell our viewers and our attendees especially, what is one of your favorite places in Montreal that if you're going to be in town, you should check out?
Oh, man.
I'm sure there's a million.
Well, there's a million, but I would tend to go a little bit away from of course, you have to see all the obligatory places like Old Montreal, the Old Port. Montreal is the second oldest city in North America, second to St. Petersburg, Florida. And it's the 375th birthday of Montreal this year. Oh. I don't know why we're celebrating such a crazy number as 375, but anyway, and then the other great area is what we affectionately call the Plateau, which is, it's kind of like the old neighborhood that has been very, very gentrified. And but there's still some of the old wonderful architecture of Montreal. So there's just lots to see, lots to do, wonderful restaurants, absolutely the best food ever. And because Montrealers are such fussy eaters, only the good restaurants survive here. So that's all I'm going to say.
That's great. And also our Master of Ceremonies this year is Harold Stolovich, and that's his birth city. So we are excited to have Harold as our Master of Ceremonies, and he'll be following up right after you. And then with Dina Dwyer, that opening night is sure to be amazing. So if somebody wants to go to your website, how can they find your website, Miss Elaina?
Okay, thank you, Valerie. It's just simply ezinfluence.com.
ezinfluence.com. So the letter E, the letter Z, influence.com. And that's where you can learn more about Elaina's work. And also to learn more about the upcoming conference in Montreal, you can visit www.ispi.org. And if you have any questions, you can find the phone numbers there, emails, and everything that you need to know about our upcoming conference. And I'd like to thank you again, Elaina, for the gift of your time and for sharing your wisdom with us. And I'm so excited to meet you in person.
So much. You know, Val, I just want to mention that if anybody hearing this has any questions about what I'm planning, you know, more questions about what I'm planning to do at this opening event at the conference, they can feel free to email me. My email is simply ez4u@ezinfluence.com.
Okay, is that the letter U or spelled out?
Letter U.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
EZ, the number
4, letter U, @ezinfluence.com. But I don't think there are any competing events that evening. Are there? I think this is the only event for conferees. Is that right?
Yes, there will be the event and then our usual opening keynote session for the first night. Yes.
Right.
And that's on April 30th. So, well, we look forward to seeing you in person, and we'll be chatting between now and then, and also to our International Society for Performance Improvement members. If you haven't gotten registered yet, we encourage you to do that as soon as possible. It's just going to be an exciting conference this year, and thank you, Elaina, for being a part of that with us.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie, and I am very, very eager to welcome you and everybody to our beautiful city in Montreal. So thank you.
To learn more about the upcoming conference, April 30th through May the 2nd, visit www.ispi.org.